long story short, Cat is like getting in these guys' asses because they've been coming on and just saying anything they want. You know, one guy talking about, yeah, that role belongs to me, but this, that, and the other bullshit. And then another comedian, I think it was Steve Harvey, who was stealing jokes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the people were so fucking
It's not just that though. It's not just that. It's who's pushing their agenda. Because another guy that talks about spirituality and stuff, he was talking about the Barbershop movie and the guy that did that, and he was like
Cedric the Entertainer.
Cedric the Entertainer. He's how he was talking shit about Rosa Parks and stuff like that, and y'all still went to go stream those Barbershop movies and go watch them. And these are people that don't really cater to our history and to big that up. They want to come in and erase that shit and do bullshit.
Let me ask you a question, right? Do you think we should separate a person's personality from their art?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I think we should. So if Steve Harvey is a dick, but he's funny, I think it doesn't matter.
He was never funny to me though.
No.
Yeah,
I'm just giving an example because
He
he's the one that we're talking about that stole art. But if he's a nice guy, but he's stealing comedy, that's a whole different story. Right?
I mean, does that make you a nice person if you're
No, I'm just giving an example. If he's a nice guy, because why else wouldn't we like hold him accountable for this shit?
That's true.
Right? Because we like him.
It's so funny because we talking about this in discussion in my class. Because I had a class about art, street art, and stuff like that. We were talking about copyright and stealing other copyright.
So that's why I was sitting there for
right.
Yeah.
And Taos, you know, there's laws in place and stuff like that for people to not steal art, but people have other ways of going around it, like creating parodies, like the Epic movie and stuff like that Kevin Hart started, Disaster movie and stuff.
I'm gonna look and see if we can find highlights.
Yeah, the highlights.
Just real quick.
To watch real quick.
Oh yeah, Ludacris.
Why did you decide you wanted to talk now?
I felt like it was time. A lot has happened in my personal life, in my career, in the culture, and conversely, the impact of this. It's about responsibility and coming forward and being brave and giving my part of the story.
In an ABC News exclusive, actor Jonathan Majors sat down with me in his first interview since a jury handed down a guilty verdict for reckless harassment, a misdemeanor, and a violation of harassment in the second degree.
You know, I haven't seen my daughter in a long time, you know, and a lot of it has to do with this situation. It all has to do with this situation, and she needs to see this, and the hard things need to be done. But it's been hard, you know. Everything's kind of gone away.
The 34-year-old actor was a rising star.
This is our family story.
Known for his roles in HBO's Lovecraft Country, Creed 3,
I'm coming for everything,
and Marvel productions like last year's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
You're an interesting man. Scott Lang.
And it was on that movie set back in 2021 where he met 30-year-old British dancer Grace Jabari. The pair dated until March of 2023 when Majors called 911 the day after a fight that was caught on surveillance video.
What happened exactly? Do you know?
No, I don't know. But she's unconscious. She's my ex-partner. We broke up. I came back. She sent me text messages insinuating this much. I stayed in a hotel last night. I came home this morning.
Police found Jabari on the closet floor of their apartment. Majors was arrested by New York City police, accused by Jabari of assault, strangulation, and harassment, convicted last month, but acquitted of 1 count of assault and 1 count of aggravated harassment, meaning the jury didn't believe he assaulted her intentionally.
Your reaction to that verdict?
Shock. I was absolutely shocked and afraid. I'm standing there, and the verdict comes down. I say, how is that possible? Based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence, let alone our evidence. How is that possible?
After the verdict, in a statement, Jabari's attorney wrote in part, "Justice was finally served today, proving that the truth can prevail even in the face of power. Grace did not choose to be in this situation. Grace has been publicly attacked as a result of her courage to testify to the truth, but her unwavering resolve to see this case through to the end was born out of her desire to give other survivors similar courage when justice requires."
The prosecution has described your relationship with Grace Jabari as tumultuous and abusive. How would you describe that 2-year relationship?
I loved Grace. Our relationship was, it was not healthy, you know, and that began to reveal itself over time, but there was no abuse.
In court, Jabari claims she sustained head injuries, but never said how she received them. Entered into evidence these partially redacted text messages from September of 2022. Majors writes, "It's just fake, and I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something." Jabari responds in part, "I will tell the doctor I bumped my head. If I go, I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep and I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I want to tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you?"
This is literally a nightmare. I don't know what happened. I don't know what injuries you're talking about.
The July incident, 2022, where she says you started throwing things, including a candle. Tell us what happened there.
You know, we were in an argument. I was on the other side of the room, away from her, as I think she testified. And by my bedside table, I did a sweep, and I knocked over my candles. I completely lost my temper in that moment and threw it all on the ground. What she also said is that afterwards I wept and cried in the corner and said I was sorry and this. And I was, and I am.
The prosecution said you allegedly wrote, "I'm a monster, a horrible man not capable of love. I'm killing myself soon. I've already put things in motion." Were you suicidal?
I've been diagnosed with severe depression, you know, and I'm taking the steps needed to alleviate, you know, some of those symptoms, ideations of removing myself from situations permanently is a thought that I've had, since I was a kid.
It all came to a head in March of last year when Jabari and Majors got into a fight, much of it captured on surveillance video and used as evidence in the trial. Jabari testified that it all began when Majors received a text from another woman. He says it read, "Oh, how I wish to be kissing you."
So let's go back to March 25th for a moment. You and then girlfriend Grace Jabari are in the backseat of a chauffeured car. She sees a text from another woman. Things seem to spiral from there. Yeah. What happened next?
Yeah, the text from another woman. Again, I said at the beginning, you know, I did that. I cop to it. I show her, right? It's in my hand. She grabs it. We scuffle for the phone. I pull the phone back. I receive my injuries. I open the door. I step out. She comes. Then one of the biggest mistakes of my life. I pick her up. I put her back in the car. I'm trying to get rid of her. I'm trying to get away from her. As the video shows, you know, everything calms. We get out. We walk across the street. I escort her across the street. The moment we get across the street, she grabs me. She goes for the phone. I get free of her and I run.
For blocks?
Yeah, for blocks.
Surveillance video also shows Jabari talking to 3 strangers. She testified they offered to get her home. One of the bystanders can be seen speaking to Majors, who gestures for Jabari to get back into the car. He eventually leaves without her and goes to a hotel for the night. Jabari leaves with the bystanders.
She says inside the car, you hit her in the face, twist her arm behind her back, fracture her middle finger.
Yeah. That did not happen.
What happened?
She went to grab the phone. I held the phone. I pulled the phone back. She came on top of me, squeezed my face, slapped me. That's all I remember.
So she ends up with a 1-inch cut behind her ear.
Laceration, yes, ma'am.
Fractured finger.
Yeah.
How did those injuries come about?
I wish to God I knew. That would give clarity. That would give me some type of peace about it.
But you're confident you didn't cause
I have no
them.
question.
What's interesting about the jury's verdict, it's so nuanced because they're saying you didn't intend
Right.
to injure her.
Right.
But the result of your recklessness
Right.
injured her.
Right.
Were you reckless?
I was reckless with her heart.
Not with her body.
Not with her body.
But never hit a woman.
Never hit a woman. My hands have never struck a woman, ever. When the actual testimony came, the driver said, she did everything, meaning Grace, he did nothing, referring to myself.
Majors claims Jabari attacked him, ripping his coat, scratching his face and arm. These are photos he says are of his injuries, but were deemed inadmissible in court.
My injuries were a scratch on my hand, from clawing for the phone, and I had a gash on my, at the time I had a beard. Under my beard I had essentially a fingernail scratch on my cheek from pressure,
You chose not to take the witness stand. Why?
Yes, ma'am. The driver.
You felt that was compelling enough. He had said enough.
Well, not just the driver, She was doing everything, he was doing nothing. Well, that's what I was going to say. Mr. Majors, did you see any injuries on her? No, I didn't. Clinical experts, the detective I spoke to, all who testified before I did. But after all of that, what was I going to add?
Jonathan, how do you feel right
During
now?
the trial, an audio recording was presented in court by the prosecution of Jonathan Majors and Grace Jabari during an argument.
How dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house? Coretta Scott King. You know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife. Michelle Obama. Barack Obama's wife. My temper, my shit, my travel, blah, all that said, right? And I'm not saying I'm a great man. A great man. I am doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in. The woman that supports me, that I support, that needs to be a great woman.
There are some who question, especially in the black community, as you're probably well aware, that people were saying, well, why was he telling this woman to be like Coretta Scott King
Right.
and Michelle Obama? Give us the context of the conversation.
It was me trying to give an analogy of what it is I'm aspiring to be, these great men, Martin, President Obama, and trying to give a reference point to that. I was attempting, and I did a terrible job at it apparently, I was attempting to motivate, to enlighten, to give perspective as into what it is I was hoping to get out of the relationship. I think that's fair.
In her closing argument, your attorney said that your greatest fear of being a black man in America calling 911 came true, suggesting that race was a part of this. Do you feel that race is a part of this?
Yeah, of course it is, without question. That quote unquote guilty verdict, guilty verdict, no quote unquote, you might as well put that on my birth certificate.
You think a white man facing the same allegations would have been arrested, charged, convicted?
I'll take it further. If you watch those videos and you reverse that, and you saw a black man chasing a young white girl down the street, screaming and crying, that man is going to be shot and killed in the streets of New York City. That black man will feel that.
Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office responded saying in part that they do their speaking in court. Jabari's attorney responded to this interview saying it is not at all surprising that Mr. Majors continues to take no accountability for his actions. His denigration of our jury system is not dissimilar from the above-the-law attitude that he has maintained throughout this legal process. The timing of these news statements demonstrates a clear lack of remorse for the actions for which he was found guilty and should make the sentencing decisions fairly easy for the court. Mr. Jabari will continue to speak the truth and seek justice in the appropriate forums in a continued effort to respect our legal process.
Grace, as you know, was arrested and charged for assault, but will not face prosecution.
Right.
You have thoughts on that?
That's hurtful. That's really hurtful. And why is it hurtful? Because, again, I know what happened. Movies don't matter. Work don't matter. Yale education doesn't matter. In that moment, what I felt was, oh, I'm nothing.
Throughout the trial, Major's girlfriend, actress Megan Good, was right by his side. She was also present for our conversation.
You've mentioned Megan a few times.
Yeah.
We've seen her right by your side, going in and out of court throughout the whole trial.
Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship?
It's a miracle. She's an angel. She's held me down like a Coretta, you know. I'm so blessed to have her, you know. The relationship is still fresh, but, you know, I think I found her, yeah.
The one.
I hope she just stick with me.
Major's career as a rising Hollywood actor is now in limbo. Future appearances playing Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe have been scrapped.
You hear the verdict.
Yeah.
The same day Marvel drops you. Your reaction?
Same hour. Same half hour, I think. It's like the world stopped.
Mm.
You know, it's like you work so hard for things, and then, you know, it's done, you know? And in that same breath, I thought, man, that was cool.
How so?
I was a supervillain, you know? And I got to play multiple characters, you know, with a group of people that really cared nothing about anything else except making really cool movies and giving their actors whatever they need to tell those stories. And I'm so proud of it.
You think you'll ever work in Hollywood again?
Yeah, I do. I pray I do. But it's God's plan and God's timing.
For those who say, look, he's convicted at this point, what would you say? I mean, do you deserve a second chance?
I think I do. I think I think I do. I hope other people think that.
Like, I feel like I've been in situations similar to this. Remember that story I told?
I was just thinking
right?
that same thing.
I literally been in situations just like this, where white girl, and you're there, and obviously it's like, oh yeah, just punch the girl, right? But all I'm thinking is, I punched this girl, I'm gonna go to jail, right? That's you are stuck. Once you have that thought in your head, you're stuck, right? I'm a big black dude. This little girl has a knife to my solar plexus. Obviously, she's the one in power, but I'm the one who's looked at like, well, what are you doing? It's a weird thing, right? He's in a situation where he's trying to get away. She's trying to grab his phone. She's scratching at him. She's pulling all this stuff. If he just mushes her, he goes to jail.
Yes.
How fair is that? How is that fair? Not just being a man, but being a black man. dating a white woman, bruh. Bruh, there's nothing fair about it. Up to this day, there's nothing fair about it.
No. And that's why you don't. That's why you stray away from dating though, because it's sad. But if it was a black woman, they would have looked. They would have looked a different way. He would have won the trial.
I say this, right? It's safer to date a black woman if you're worried about it being you versus them. Is it safer relationship wise? I know a lot of black women that have more attitude than any white girl I've ever met. And they are quick to put their hands on you. I think you guys know exactly what type of woman I'm talking about. So, like, you got to pick and choose, right? You can't just say, well, don't date white girls. There's some white girls that will hold you down, right? She was raised by a black dude, right? I hooked out with that situation. But what I'm saying is, like, you can just exile black or white girls if you're scared of that thing, but that's not realistic. You know, I mean,
too, why she was trying to grab the phone?
Oh, well, if you didn't hear, he got a text from a girl. So she was trying to grab the phone.
I'm not gonna lie, it don't look good for him. I'm not really on his side I'm like really on his side with you guys. I'm not gonna lie.
But look, I'm not saying I don't know if he was cheating or not. Apparently he wasn't. But let's say he was cheating, right? Let's say he was cheating. Is her reaction still justified?
To snatch the phone, definitely not.
To try and snatch the phone, fine. But then to run out the car and chase him for, like, what are we talking about? For 4 or 5 blocks?
That's what I'm saying. It don't make no sense.
I understand you're in the thing. I got a sexy text from a girl. What's that? You try to snatch from right there. He snatches it back. Nah, chill.
But here's the thing. Everybody asks what is the man doing. Nobody asks what the woman does. And that's not fair. That's not fair. Whether or not he got a text or whatever the case may be, you don't know what she is doing. And she could be texting other men as well.
And I want to throw this out there for you especially, right? Think about it this way. Let's say he suffered from depression, right? Which he was, right? She knows he's on the way up, but she also knows his mentality isn't all there. Do you think? Let me finish. Do you not think? Both of them. Listen. Yeah. Do you not think she was trying to take advantage of him by putting herself in his hotel room, all injured and shit like that? Do you not think she was trying to control him?
To say that his mental state is the reason why he put his hands on her. You gotta look at all aspects.
Is even there.
Both of their mentals is not there, but she has a little bit more of an insight because he is a black man with
if she has a drinking problem, which it seems like it, and then he suffers from depression, is not good on both sides. She's not coherent, and then he goes into the fight or flight response, and that's not good.
Yes, both of these guys are suffering in a way that's not good, and it's creating this toxic relationship. But my point is, even with that toxic relationship, someone is manipulating someone. And what I'm saying is, from even all the information we got, even him saying, look, let's say he did hit her. I understand why he would say, look, I hit you, but please don't tell them. It will ruin my entire life. They're not the same. Him hitting you and putting a scratch on you is not the same as you ruining his entire life. It's not the same.
That's true.
Right? And if you love him, I'm not saying you just stay with him and be like, oh, it's okay. Maybe just leave his ass if he's putting his hands on you.
Yeah, why would you stay in a situation?
But that's my point. This is my point, that she is really the one trying to manipulate him. Yeah. Really think about that.
Yeah, because I've been in a situation where I've been the person to put my hands on somebody and then be like, oh, but he did it. It doesn't matter. I still put my hands. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, like when you're a woman and you put your hands on a man, it doesn't matter what you guys were arguing about, what he did, what he said. If you put your hands on him, you got to remember, he can put your hands on you too.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could be scrappy, that's fine, but at the end of the day, that dude is gonna put weight on you, bro. It's not gonna be easy. If he really wants to hurt you, if his head is enough is enough, and he's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
That's not a position you want to put yourself in, no matter how angry you are. Leave the dude over putting your hands on the dude. And if that's the kind of relationship you think, oh, it's just fine, I'm with a guy, we're together, I should be able to hit him, and it's okay, he's a guy, he can take it. What would be the equivalent to that in a reverse?
Mental abuse from a man.
Just yelling at women? Just calling them names, calling them bitches, and I don't know. Like, what would be the real equal to that? But I wouldn't even say that's equal because it's not even equal. Because if the woman put your hands on you, right? Physical abuse. I'm not saying physical abuse is just always worse than verbal abuse, but physical abuse leaves scars, and you can't be locked up for verbal abuse. There's a big difference, right? It's not the same.
And also, physical abuse also brings in mental abuse as well.
Yeah.
It also goes hand in hand because
physical abuse.
Because mental abuse. Especially in a relationship, because somebody that's hurting you, and then at the end of the day tells you, "Oh, it's okay, I got your back." That's a mental abuse thing. Mm-hmm. It's manipulation.
Guys, in the comments below, let us know. Whose side are you on? Jonathan's?
I'm not on anybody's side because she got things going on and he got things going on. We don't know the actual in-betweens. We know what we're seeing as of right now. She's not wrong. She's wrong. And if he has put his hands on her, he's wrong as well.
I agree. If he did put his hands on her, they're both wrong. Right? They're definitely both wrong.
Now, if she's manipulating him and mentally abusing him because she knows that he is in a weak spot within his mental state, then she's wrong, and I would be on his side. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, obviously, I'm not there, so I don't fucking know. I'm just going based off what I've seen, what he said, what she said, what the court said. I just feel like, based off all the evidence,
do you guys think that she's a mole, though, to have got him out the Marvel universe?
That's what I said.
To be honest,
I'll bring it a step further. Let's go down that rabbit hole real quick. If she's a mole, I don't think it's just about the Marvel universe. I think he was coming up quick.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Yeah.
Right? It's to knock him down so that he doesn't continue to get roles over other people that he's been getting.
Yeah.
Right?
But what other people though? There's no other black people. So that's why we're like, who's
not
going to
other
place
black
him in the Marvel
people.
universe?
There's a finite amount of black people in the industry, and what I always ask myself is it because they're black, or is it because there's a bunch of black men who aren't willing to do the things that they want them to do to take the role?
Exactly.
Like get on their knees, like wear a dress, like do all those. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I understand that. You know, I'm not saying
there's more black men that would happily do that. They go to jail and then they do what they gotta do. So.
Right. Look, I hear you. I hear you. All I'm saying is like maybe he didn't want to. Maybe he was coming up and he wasn't trying to play ball with them like that.
So they put her in a position to take
exactly.
him down.
So in his last Marvel movie, they were like, "All right, yo, this is the job." Yeah. I don't really think that's what it was. She
looks like a mole. It was easy for her.
And that's why if she's a mole,
that's why that would.
If she's a mole, she's playing mentally unstable really well. Right? Yeah. I'll say that. If she's a mole, she's playing that role really well. I don't think she's a mole. I think it's possible.
I mean, I don't think the mental unstableness is her playing. I feel like it's because she knows she's a mole. It's like being a double agent. You have to have some type of vice, and her vice is drinking, and that leads to mental unstableness. And then
also too, you gotta understand that even if these people were put in this position, they still got feelings. So she could have still fell in love with him, and then she's like, "I'm doing him wrong behind his back." Right. So that could lead you to
what can him not be in a relationship with me?
Right.
Start doing all these things, and then when you love somebody, you don't just let them go, just like that.
So he tried maybe to help
her,
make
it work, and shit like that, and then this
a lot of hypotheses going around. We don't know, but I feel like just the situation in general, it's just a fucked up situation, man. You see a man like this come up, just in the culture. I was rooting for him personally.
I don't know why y'all took out the Marvel. You're not doing that well because nobody's going back and watching all them 15 movies that you did before to get to your latest movie that you come out with. So it's good you had him on board for a fan base, for people to actually tune in. Because who was going to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp without him? Let's keep it a stack. The Ant-Man.
No, she can tell you. The only reason I went to go see that was because he was in it.
Exactly. Ant-Man, because you got to go back and watch the many 50 movies to see how we got to Ant-Man if he wasn't in it. So that was not a smart decision.
I mean, look, the Marvel Universe, in general, they started off real strong and very quickly let outside sources influence them. Mm-hmm. Like the whole woke, this Disney in general. Before Disney was involved, Marvel was doing what the fuck they were supposed to be doing.
And that's so crazy how Disney's involved, and now a black man is so-called charged because of this whole white woman situation, and now they're taking up the Marvel Universe. Come on.
When all this really started, Robert Downey Jr. was going through a lot. This role, Iron Man, was the role. He talks about this. That role was the role that pulled him out of his darkness and saved his life. But we can't do that for anyone else. Right? You don't hear that shit being done for any black guys.
He said he's not going to be Iron Man again.
I don't believe that. He says that, but that's been like his bread and butter, and he's been so good at it. He doesn't fail at it. I doubt he doesn't do it. It's not a stressful role for him.
I feel like he's not. I feel like he's not.
I feel like he wants a challenge.
Another challenge. Like this situation, that's not on board with the movie anymore. You have to like who you work with.
Yeah. Yep.
True.
I would bring it somebody knowing when they pulled out
Terrence
Howard, you could see that he liked playing Iron Man, and but it's like the whole connection there with the two actors.
Don Cheadle and really good.
I'm still pissed off about that shit. I'm still pissed off about that shit, bro.
Bro, when we see the second movie, we said, "Who is that?"
This? I said,
"Who this for?"
That really just played me because Terrence Howard wanted to be paid what he was fucking worth because he knew that the shit was gonna go far. Come on.
I'm not gonna lie. I like Don Cheadle, but I think Terrence Howard
seems like a ball fondler.
Who?
Don Cheadle.
Yes, that's why they put him next for the fucking movie.
Okay.
And he's a ball fondler, and he got agreed
to
be paid less.
This is my point. But this is my point. You see how I say a lot of black guys won't play ball, which is why they're not pushed like that? That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
He seems like a ball fondler. When he was in the interview with Kevin Hart with that hat and glasses, it really gave ball fondler.
Kevin Hart said, he said
how
his
old
age.
You?
Kevin Hart said,
"Damn."
Oh, right. I remember that shit. I remember that one. Oh man, he said,
"He that old nigga? Wow."
Okay. Had Don feeling like upset about that. He was like, "How the fucking answer was that? Yeah, man.
Yeah, you old bitch. The fuck you want me to say? You're old."
Yeah, listen.
I don't know.